Okay, Thursday evening. Time is just about a quarter after before 10 o'clock. And as of right now, again, we're looking at the potential for a decently hot weekend coming our direction. Not really much good news on that, unfortunately, over the course of the next several days, but we'll talk more about that coming up here into the area. We will see some temperatures dropping off a little bit, but it's really not going to be happening again to help us out anytime soon with anything you might call cooler weather. I would say in the mid to lower 80s, somewhere in there, just really not happening anytime soon. So unfortunately, this is about as good as it gets in our 7-day forecast, which we'll talk about coming up here in just a little bit. Welcoming our viewers, surfers around the area on Facebook. And it looks like Twitch is active and everything working here. So welcome to the show to everyone. For those of you who have not been around here, Facebook, a lot of people know me a little bit more on there. Twitch, we're just starting off to see if this thing works or not, and just getting News 12 out on a different internet source to make certain we're able to get everybody informed about what's happening. If you're just joining us on Twitch, I'm Chief Meteorologist Austin Onig. This is Weather Overtime. This is our online video weather blog from News 12 in downtown Chattanooga, Tennessee, USA. In case you're tuning in from anywhere overseas, it is just before 10 o'clock Eastern Time. And again, hot conditions will continue. Not as hot as a lot of other places. We do not have any advisories in effect. We do not have anything in the way of really dangerous heat coming up like they're seeing in many other portions of the country. So got questions about the forecast, Facebook or Twitch, just drop them into the comments section and we'll take a look and see what everybody has to say. If there's something we don't know the answer to, we'll do our best to get you information about what's going on. Again, Twitch, we're brand new to this whole thing, so mainly what we're talking about here is weather, science, maybe some astronomy, astronomical type information thrown in, stuff like that. No video games, no playing around with music or knitting or instructional type stuff. So if you're looking for something more exciting or more musical, sorry, but you're really not going to find that here. Either way, welcome again. If you're just tuning in on Twitch, thank you very much for surfing around and taking a look and see what's going on there. We'll take a look at the forecast into the weekend and beyond. And once again, if you got questions for things, just let me know on things like Jeff Peterson. Thank you for checking in from Dunlap. 102. That right there is some very toasty weather. We'll take a look at the almanac for Chattanooga coming up here in just a little bit. It was hot. It did not get as hot yesterday. So we did manage to get pretty toasty again here, but we did not set a record and we did not tie what we made it to yesterday. So again, not totally terrible, but I would rather more of an autumn than a summertime. So it'd be nice to have that at some point in time. Let's go ahead and take a look outdoors and see what's going on from the News 12 studios in downtown Chattanooga, the north flank of Lookout Mountain behind me, and looking off to the west where hopefully we had a good sunset. We'll take a look at the time-lapse camera here a little bit later on. Downtown Chattanooga, a little bit of haze overhead, some of that due to smoke, some of that due to Saharan dust, believe it or not. We'll take a look at that in the forecast and the maps coming up here in just a little while, but otherwise quiet and well lit. Everything going pretty quietly for a Friday night. Lee Point at Highway 153 down at the lower section there. And again, pretty hazy looking off toward the west. Skies are mostly clear at this time across the area. Traffic around the area of CHI Memorial Stadium at the 75-24 split. Everything, again, moving along pretty nicely at this spot. And let's go out to Island Cove Marina and Resort. All of this is on the EPB fiber optics WeatherCam network. And again, you can see a few clouds up that direction, but nothing in the way of rainfall coming down at this point. So staying on the dry side for now. Temperatures way toasty out there with that temperature again in the mid to upper 80s and humidity levels at 59, almost 60%. That's pretty sultry. Went out to walk the dog when I went home for dinner, and it was near sweltering out there. I've felt worse. Again, Boy Scout camp back in Kansas during the summertime, that can get way up hot from time to time. And still not as hot as I've ever seen it back in Kansas, and that was 115, I think, back in 1989 or 1990. So this, by comparison, is nice, but it would be nice to kind of drop the temperatures a little bit. So yes, I am wholeheartedly looking forward to autumn and hopefully the first frost, at least for the allergies taking place between here and there. Ragweed season coming up. I'm really not looking forward to that at this point. We did have a few scattered showers. Titan radar, again, a little bit of light showers around the area of northeast Georgia and western North Carolina. But a lot of what we're seeing right now in the way of thunderstorms down toward areas around Atlanta. South of there's probably some pretty good lightning in the sky from Atlanta down that direction and off toward east central Georgia. Not that much of anything happening here, although we did have some pretty good thunderstorms popping up earlier. These are pulse type thunderstorms, develop, drift, collapse, start back over again, lather, rinse, repeat. You got a pretty good idea about how that goes. And again, we'll be seeing more activity like this as we go into the weekend, but we'll talk more about that in just a little while. Temperatures nearing 10 o'clock, back in the high 70s to the lower 80s. 84 the warm spot again at the Chattanooga airport, and numbers a little bit cooler back toward Blue Ridge, Georgia, and Murphy, North Carolina. Not by much, but at least some lower 70s out there. So a decently moderate evening, but we just really don't have a lot in the way of cooler weather to talk about anytime soon. Let's take a look at the almanac page and give you an idea as to what we looked for. Yesterday was the hottest day of the year so far in Chattanooga. We still got a lot of summer to go through. Today was the second hottest, almost made it. Yesterday's high of 98. Again, we were coming close to 97, but then the cloud cover moved in, so we did not have much of anything there to boost us over the top for anything close to a record high, so good news on that. Nothing in the rain gauge. We could definitely use some more rainfall, and we're behind now for the year by over 2 inches and almost a month, or almost an inch behind for the entire month at this point. So that would be kind of handy for us to make that up. I don't know if we're going to be able to do that in the course of the next couple of days. We are rapidly running out of month. August starts next week, believe it or not. Where's the time gone? And we'll see again, hopefully some more chances of rainfall. This is really incredible here too. A record low of 56 degrees. That hasn't been changed since 1911. So I believe that's 112 years that we have had a record low stand, and the record high 106 back in around 1952. Highest temp ever recorded in history happened on consecutive days. Jeff Peterson, 107. I wondered, I thought that was a twofer right there. I knew it happened on June 30th. I wasn't too sure about July 1st because I remember something about Chattanooga history having that double whammy record high temperature. So Jeff Peterson and Dunlap, thank you very much for sending that along. Almanac history, weather history, I think is really a cool thing. So really neat to be able to see stuff like that out there. So thanks for checking on the numbers there, Mr. Peterson. I feel kind of seen in this picture here in its own way. Back in Memphis several years ago in our backyard over in East Memphis, we did some gardening, my wife and I, and we scattered a bunch of seeds around, including some remnants of some sweet potatoes. And then we went on vacation for about a week and a half, and by the time we came back, our small little portion of the garden had exploded in sweet potato vines. So Dale Hooper, I'm not too sure where this was, but thank you very much for our West Shore Home weather window picture of the day, to where a pumpkin left in the yard last Thanksgiving sprouted and took over pretty well. So really neat to be able to see nature in motion doing that. That is our West Shore Home weather window picture of the day. Thank you very much for that. If you've got pictures, please send them on to us. Again, you can drop them to us by email, which is usually the easiest, pictures@wdef.com, or you can drop them to us on Facebook, Instagram. I really need to change that Bluebird to an X, apparently, unless we see possibly Mr. Zuckerberg sue for proprietary rights for the new X site. I don't even know what to call these things anymore. They're not tweets, they're X's, or X marks the spots. I have no idea about that. Either way, if you've got pictures, the important thing is if you have pictures, send them in, and yours could be our next West Shore Home weather window picture of the day. There will be the potential of some thunderstorms tomorrow. Not great, but there will be, again, possibilities of them out there. So please remember, if you're going out and about on the golf course, trying to avoid those gophers. It's going to be hot, first of all. Temperatures for highs back in the mid to upper 90s. Heat index temperatures with the temperature combined with the humidity to make the heat index. Yes, it is a real thing. No, don't email and tell me that it's just a made-up thing for ratings. There's an actual mathematical formula for this stuff. So look it up again if you doubt me on that. That right there is going to be the main thing tomorrow about what it's going to feel like, and it's going to be pretty atrocious tomorrow with those temperatures like that. Not enough for a heat advisory out across the area. Plenty of heat advisories across the continental United States, especially the eastern U.S., central parts of the area, Nebraska, Kansas, Missouri, Iowa, Illinois, Indiana, seeing numerous excessive heat warnings, and we're also seeing a bunch over toward the Chesapeake Bay, eastern seaboard area, including up to New Jersey and around New York. If my cousin Alex in the Bronx is watching, definitely want to take along that water bottle. Oh, wait, never mind. You're on vacation. Don't worry about that. You're somewhere else at this point, so not enduring the heat into and around the area of the tri-state area back around New York City. Bishop Bob and Josh, thanks a lot as well for inviting me for being on Talkback Live today. You can find out more or watch the repeat interview on their Spreaker website, if I'm not mistaken. Thank you very much. Had a great time talking with you guys, and looking forward to doing it again at some point in time. We don't have any advisories for the News 12 viewing area. We don't have temperatures that have reached that heat advisory level, and that is 105 degrees heat index. So we're going to be, if 105 is where you get the heat advisories going on, we're going to be making it to about 103, just below that. So as of right now, the 4 national weather services that cover the News 12 viewing area, Nashville, Morristown, Atlanta, and Huntsville, not one of them have issued a heat advisory of any type for the News 12 viewing area. So hot, annoyingly humid, but not showing up anything in the way of really bad, as in needing an advisory of some type regarding the heat. Either way, it is going to be steamy out there, so please remember to take it easy and just watch your body heat and your stress levels. If anybody's working or exercising with you, it's going to be quite hot out there all the way on through. So again, as I was reminded several times by my dad, taking care of his architect office lawn back in Topeka, Kansas, you don't have to mow the entire lawn all at once. Take some breaks, get in the shade, get in the air conditioning, drink that water back that your body sweats away. Have a tanker with you of some sorts to put back that water. No sodas, water, iced tea without, again, hopefully too much sugar out there. But please make certain you put back what your body sweats away. We could still see an advisory. We just don't have one in effect for right now. So steam heat out there is going to be the rule all the way over the area. We've got tons of moisture across portions of the area, and that again flowing up from this storm system. You can't really see it on this map. Let's go ahead and switch to the national map, and it'll give you a better idea. This is a storm system that actually the National Hurricane Center is keeping its eye on. It does have a sort of an area of investigation, although it hasn't been labeled as such, but there's a 0% chance that this could develop into something. Either way, this is drawing a lot of moisture in from the Gulf of Mexico and from off the East Coast, and that's bringing some rainy and cloudy conditions to the beaches down that direction. So if you're heading that way for a weekend trip, you may see some indoor activities more than outdoors, because we're looking again at the potential for some soggy conditions out there with that area of low pressure sticking around. Now, high pressure is doing a good job of keeping things relatively stable. Yes, we have some thunderstorms out there, but again, in an atmosphere where you have tons of moisture, just enough instability, and the sun shining down, heating the lower atmosphere up, you can get thunderstorms underneath a high pressure dome. It can happen. It just has to be the absolute right conditions for that. Now, looking ahead into the next day or two, This area of high pressure should be again for the area for the next couple of days. If these areas of high pressure diminish and go southeast a little bit, which is what we're expecting for right now, the computer models are showing that, again, we have these fronts back to the north of us, that these areas of high pressure are kind of pushing back this direction. These really have not moved too much in the last, to be honest, about a couple of weeks in their own right. A new front coming down our direction, this could give us some potential hope of some more thunderstorms into the weekend. Not much, but as it gets closer to us, we'll start to see the potential for some better chances of thunderstorms into the weekend. Now, for right now, for the computer models as to what they're showing, tonight and into early tomorrow morning, it's not going to be cool really much whatsoever. Lower 70s out there. Then as we get into tomorrow afternoon, temperatures head, depending on how much sunshine we get, numbers head into the high 90s, and we see more chances of those showers and thunderstorms approaching during the weekend. So that, again, is where we will see some hopefully cooler conditions once this moves on through. Some more thunderstorms possible to our east early Sunday morning. Lows again back into the lower 70s or so, and then a potential for some more thunderstorms taking place as we get into Sunday afternoon, but high temperatures are expected to be way up there again toward about Sunday afternoon. So we're looking at a pretty hot weekend coming up, and those thunderstorms, they may cool us off a little bit once they pass, but I really don't think we're going to be looking at anything involving nicer, clearer weather coming up, really more comfortable, I should say, anytime soon. So we're looking at just some pretty ugly conditions out there overall. Severe weather chances, let me take this back just a little bit. Tonight, the possibilities of thunderstorms are pretty much gone back to the east of Chattanooga. That's where we see that potential for the light green is just generic thunderstorms. On the scale, this is nowhere close to severe weather. That is going to be way up to our north and east for tonight. Now tomorrow, that marginal threat in the dark green polygon starts getting a little closer to us, and then as we go into Sunday, this is where we see the potential of a marginal threat of severe weather. Again, we're not talking about a severe weather outbreak, but we are going to see the potential of some stronger storms, maybe some heavy rainfall leading to some downpours, and maybe some localized flash flooding. The main threat at this time appears to be the possibility of damaging thunderstorm winds. The atmosphere does not appear to be set up for anything involving a major severe weather outbreak. Some limited amounts of severe weather, but beyond that, it doesn't really look like a lot going on, and that's good news. I never root for severe weather. It's dangerous enough as it is when we get that type of stuff. So for right now, from what we can see, it's going to be not too bad again, but it definitely needs to be watched. If you've got outdoor activities this weekend, you've got the heat and humidity to worry about already, and then you see the potential of thunderstorms taking place. That's something to watch out for. So if you've got the kids out on a picnic, going out on the lake, going out for a round of golf, whatever it is, keep an eye on the sky, and then again monitor for getting back indoors again should anything turn stormy. If you can see lightning, if you can hear thunder, you are within range of getting struck by lightning. So remember, when thunder roars, go indoors. Let's all be safe out there as we go through the rest of the forecast. Jeff Peterson, 105 degrees in September 2019. I'll take a look at that coming up a little bit later and see if we have that. Unfortunately, I'm multitasking here on two computers, so I can't take a look at that, but thanks for looking that up for me. Glad to have somebody who takes a look at the weather information there. Also, one more thing about this forecast is several hours old. So by the time I'm talking to you about this for Friday night, a lot of this could change. So it's important to watch what happens with the Storm Prediction Center that issues these forecasts, and this could change a lot either way, going down to nothing or up to a slight risk. We'll just have to watch and see. But this information here, important to know that what I'm talking about now, Friday night, is very much probably outdated, so it's important to watch and see what goes on with this as you go into the rest of the weekend. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at the 7-day and give you an idea as to what we're looking for. Again, through the weekend, not much good news. Mid to upper 90s, a good possibility. Lows back into the mid 70s, lower to mid 70s at best. Next week, again, as that front comes through, or at least bobbles into the area, giving us some drier conditions. Hopefully, cross your fingers and your toes if that works, because we'll be dropping the numbers into the lower 90s. This right here is normal for this time of the year for this area of the country. That's as good as it gets on the high temperature. Well, we might make the mid to upper 60s Tuesday night into Wednesday morning. Beyond that, we're not looking at too much of anything involving quote-unquote cooler weather coming anytime soon. It's just plenty of heat and humidity, but it's very typical for this time of the year. So technically, we are spot on. A little bit above normal, no question, but basically we are spot on for this area of the country at this time of the year. So not seeing a lot of change anytime soon. And that goes, again, right on in through about next week. Let me see if I included the extended forecast. From the Climate Prediction Center, the 6 to 10 day outlook is showing again that heat dome basically sitting in place. The above normal chances for those temperatures sticking around. It's a bit reduced. It's a little bit better than yesterday, but again, the basic pattern has not changed anytime soon. I'm hoping, and I haven't seen this, let's see if it's updated here. The good news at this time, it looks like for the precipitation forecast, we are seeing a little bit better potential for rainfall. And again, on the 7-day forecast, that is what we were really looking at when it came to chances of rain coming through. So it's a little bit better, a little drier, pushed down to our south and then way back up to our north. So maybe those chances of rainfall will help a little bit to drop the temperatures. Doesn't really look like a lot of help in that area, so it'd be nice, but just doesn't seem to be happening anytime soon. We do have a little bit of Saharan dust, believe it or not, heading on through the area, and through, again, about the next week. A lot of what you're looking here on the maps, right up in this area, we have dust that comes in from off the Sahara, and that can make it all the way over here. It actually acts helping fertilize portions of the rainforest. It also can do a good job of reducing, with that thickness of the air or of the dust blocking the sunshine coming down to the ocean. This can actually do a very good job of reducing the chances of hurricanes forming. So that's kind of cool. But in the last couple of days, we have seen a little bit of that dust make its way through the Gulf and up and into the continental United States. It's not much, but it has been enough just to drop the visibility by just a little bit, and it looks like it'll be sticking around through portions of the weekend. We also have the possibility of some smoke heading our way. Not as bad as it was last week. Let me see if I can get this into motion real quick. There we go. Looking back to the area, again, the blues and the greens, it's very light, but it is noticeable amounts of smoke coming through from fires out around Idaho and Montana and portions of northwestern Wyoming. This is what is going to be dropping our direction in the next couple of days. So we may see some more smoke coming our direction here. There's also a little bit of an interesting neat little thing coming through here. Watch up into northern parts of Minnesota. It looks like a bunch more smoke is starting to form up into Canada and starting to head our direction here. So it is possible that the next plume with these wildfires starting might be dropping our direction. Now, whether that makes its way all the way down here, that's several days away at best, but by Sunday night we could have a better idea of whether or not that smoke right into there is making its way closer to us. So we could be seeing some more hazy skies into the course of the next few days, depending on what goes on. So for right now, we have the potential of that for right now. Spencer Holt, how come the probability of precipitation isn't shown on the 7-day forecast? That is a decision that has been made around the management level and also apparently from some consultants to where we don't put that information on there. We just include the possibility of chances of what goes on. And I have to agree with that in some terms. I would like to include it sometimes, but I think overall, just for us in general, it kind of gives a better idea if we can describe more about what happens where the 7-day is concerned, instead of just having all those numbers on there. The more information that you put on screen, the general public, the viewing public, as they watch, they only have a few seconds to engage in all of this information. So if I can describe what's happening without having to put in excess words or excess numbers, trying to take a bit of a minimalist approach on this, so we don't include that for, again, a couple of various reasons, but just basically because it gets pretty crowded in here as it is. And usually when the 7-day forecast happens, we've got a maximum of about maybe 15 to 20 seconds to talk about, unless we need to extend that for whatever reason to explain about things. So something to take a look at on that for everything. It's just our way of doing things here at News 12, but thank you for asking about that. Jeff Peterson, yes, I remember I was going to look at that at some point in time. The Falcon Heavy rocket carrying Jupiter 3 EchoSat, launching tonight. It's been a very busy week here, to say the least, so a few things have slipped on through. It's great to be able to see a lot of that stuff out there. Unfortunately, we just haven't had a chance to tell everybody about stuff like that. I'm trying to get an astronomy podcast going here to let people know more about what's going on, but just really haven't had the chance to do so. From Munson Scott South Pole Station, courtesy of the National Science Foundation in Antarctica, looks like condition 1, condition 2. I believe that's the correct designation. I think it's condition 3 that's white out. Condition 2 is where it's not totally clear and just enough visibility to be dangerous. So interesting to see that at the bottom of the world. And from a few hours ago, this is what it looked like down that direction. 83 below zero was the air temperature at the South Pole. Wind speed of approximately 15 knots and wind chill of minus 107 degrees. So we include this both because it's scientifically cool and because it's very chilly, and maybe hopefully this will help cool you off a little bit to see temperatures that are some 160 degrees cooler than what they are here, pretty much all the way up into the 90s for today. So interesting range of temperatures out there. Nice to be able to see some of that. Let's take a look out into the tropics real quick. I want to make certain everybody's paying attention to what is going on. We've got storm system number 1 back across portions of the East Coast states. That's the one we were talking about earlier. That one, again, it's a 0% again. Days 0 to 2 and 2 through 7, that's the two numbers that you see there. So this one, goose eggs of developing into something, because it's right along the coast, and anytime these storm systems move over the land surface, they lose a good portion of their power. So this has enough oomph, and that's an actual meteorological term, by the way. This has enough circulation to move warm, moist air onshore. So this is going to be affecting a lot of beach activities in the near future from the Gulf to the East Coast. Second storm system, this one I believe is still at 10 and 10% heading over South America. This actually was an impulse over the last several days back into parts of the Caribbean. Let me just double check here, because it looks like this is new information from the National Hurricane Center. Yes, this has now this is now no longer, it's 20% in days 0 through 2. This is now up to 70% from days 2 through 7. And this is the disturbance we're looking at here, making its way through mid-ocean. So this one could be seeing the potential of developing even further, but the way that high pressure over the Atlantic and our new storm systems coming through to the north, it looks like this is going to be curving its way back into the ocean. So once again, another fish storm coming on through. If my co-anchor Emily Casulo is watching on any of these netcasts, sorry, we might get Tropical Storm Emily out of this, maybe, but it really depends on what happens as this arcs upwards and into the very cooler waters. So Emily, if you're out there watching, you might have your name storm coming up in the next couple of days. We'll watch that again to see what happens out there. Bishop Bob, thank you very much. That's perfect timing on that. saying warmer air fuels hurricanes, and that's what we're running into. The sea surface temperatures, again, the scale, just generic cooler to warmer. From Africa to South America, we've got this band of warmer waters here. That's pretty typical this time of the year, to where you can have that water. That's all part of that circulation, to where the warmer air rises up at the equator, goes up and into the area of where the Gulf Stream takes that warmer water and moves it up into the cooler areas of the ocean. That water sinks, and then that circulation pattern continues. That's partly what helps to drive weather, absorb heat, keep the temperatures balanced, things like that. This is, again, and apparently some people out there had a problem with me saying this is bathtub warm water, and tried to say that the climate change nuts were having an issue. This is, again, way over the top right here, this water in the Gulf and the Caribbean. This is bathtub, jacuzzi, hot tub, potato, whatever you want to say it is. It's hotter than usual, way hotter than usual, and this is a problem, and this is where we've been seeing the oceans absorb the heat of the atmosphere and warm up. This is way warmer than it should be at this time of the year. This is not even close to normal, and this is really worrisome. So to those of you out there who had an issue with me linking this to climate change and saying this is nuts, no, it's not. I wish it was, but it's not. This is the ocean absorbing the extra heat that we as humans are putting into the atmosphere and causing climate change by the fact that we are using so much fossil fuels that we're heating our atmosphere, and now the ocean can't keep up with that, and that's dangerous, and we're seeing a lot of problems with that. And if those systems way out this direction make their way into this area, this is rocket fuel. The warmer waters, and right over that area, if something decides to develop here, we could see rapid intensification. We could see much more dangerous storms happen because of this warm water out there. So if you want to call climate change nuts, that's your right, and that's your ability to do so. But as Neil deGrasse Tyson says, this is a country that guarantees your right to free speech, but it's not a country that guarantees that everything you have to say is correct. So someone probably is going to say something like, well, okay, back at you, prove that this is true. Well, here it is, and this is, again, a good indication of what is happening out there, and this is very worrisome. Water temperatures, not air temperatures, water temperatures in the Caribbean around the Keys were over 100 degrees a few days ago, and that is as warm as records have it. It has never been hotter in the waters of the Caribbean than what it is right now. And to those people who were saying, oh, well, that's due to volcanic vents, it's only hotter around there, that's what's causing it. No, that's not it. It's us. We're causing it, and this is the problem, that we need to understand what we're doing to the atmosphere and how the atmosphere affects the oceans and how all of this affects our home in space. So if you want to call climate change nuts, more power to you. Doesn't mean you're right. Facts and science are here, and if you'd like to know more about that, I'd love to put you in touch with more people who understand more about that and where you can learn more about it. But sitting there and crossing your arms and plugging your ears and calling it nuts, that's not going to help anything, and it doesn't make you look great either. So again, learn more about it, what we're doing to our planet, and here's part of the proof right here. So there it is. All right, off my soapbox for now. Thanks for listening to that. Again, for right now, now would be the time. If you have a weather radio and would like to program it but don't know how, all you have to do is go to our website at wdef.com/weather, and we would love to be able to help you program your weather radio. The antenna receives information from the National Weather Service encoded into the radio broadcast. It's like the same thing as your car radio. It has the information about what song, what album, what radio station, and that information gets programmed in. So if you don't want to program it, you get alerted for a whole bunch of stuff, almost every single warning that comes down the pike. But if you don't want to be bothered by all the warnings for various counties, you can program in the counties that you do want to know about and leave out the ones that you don't. So that might help and keep you safer. Again, drop by our website sometime this weekend if you got the weather radio. If you don't have one, pick one up at your local hardware store. They're at grocery stores. They're at various locations. $30-$40 to get a battery with that for a life-saving piece of equipment. So please keep in mind this is going to be a good opportunity to keep you safer. And if as your kids, your grandkids go back to school, check with your school to see if they have a weather radio available. If they don't, offer to buy them one. Just check in and see what's going on. They may not have thought of it before. It should be in every single school, every single business, every single place of worship around the community, around the United States. It should be in every mobile home, for that matter, too, just to make sure. This should come as part of the package of buying a mobile home. You should have one of these in there, and everybody should pick one up just to be on the safe side, just to stay safer. And again, go to our website this weekend to keep you updated as to what's going on. Spencer Holt, how much shear is over the Atlantic and the Pacific Oceans? As for right now, let's take a look and see. For at least available energy, the shear was not bad. And again, that's winds moving different directions at different levels of the atmosphere. For severe weather, you need a pretty decent amount of shear to get some rotation going. The same amount of shear can rip hurricanes and tropical storms apart, depending on how things go. Now, as of right now, again, watching those impulses over the course of the next couple of days, moving across the waters of the Pacific, it looks like we do have enough strength to get some of that one storm going as it passes to the east of Bermuda. But once again, it looks like it's not going to have much luck forming into anything. Likewise, the storm off of Florida and Georgia, watching this get a little bit out further off the coast, looks like that has a little bit more energy than this one does, just by a little bit, but not much. So there's enough shear, it looks like, to keep these things going by just a little bit, but I don't see a lot of major concern here for anything really starting to develop. Let me see if I can get the wave heights back up here again. Once again, we see again those storm systems in parts of the Atlantic kicking up a decent amount of energy, but I really don't see, again, too much here starting off anything really major so far. And that area of high pressure looks like things are going to be keeping relatively stable. It'll scoot the impulses out and move over toward the west, but so far there's nothing here that indicates we've got a major storm taking place. So shear is nominal, I would say, but I would say also that it's not perfect for developing anything really huge at this time. So again, we're looking at the potential of that coming on through for the next couple of weeks. We're not even at the halfway mark. We should be there around September the 10th, and right now we're not quite there yet. So we've got a long ways to go, several months before we hit the end of hurricane season. So we could have a very active few months ahead of us. Hopefully El Nino quiets things down, but for right now it's a little too early to tell, and definitely way too early to talk about letting our guard down. So we could see a lot of activity very quickly, and with those ocean temperatures out there, we could see some rapid intensification very soon across much of the area. Let's go ahead and close it down for now. I think that'll do it for the time being. That's about all the information we have. Okay, one more thing I want to mention again for teachers and administrators around our area. We would like to come to your school and talk about weather and climate change and science and all types of stuff like that, but we don't just show up, which is rude and honestly kind of weird. So if you'd like us to come talk to your students, whatever grade levels you have, anything like that, please let us know. Go to our website for the Food City Weather in the Classroom program. Enter in the information. Can't talk tonight. It's been a long week. Give us an idea, your contact details, what grade level your students are. Again, we do a different presentation for pre-K, kindergarten, first grade than we do for like second grade, and a different one for around high school. Again, for the lower classes, we talk a little bit more, maybe read a story and talk about how to protect yourself, but we don't really get into the math and science. That is more for elementary to middle school and into high school in that area. We would love to come out and talk to your groups of students. If there's something special you would like for us to talk about, please let us know. Fill out the form here and give us an idea as to, again, some dates and times that we could come out and talk to your students. Please remember that the fall semester is about to begin, as I don't have to remind the teachers and administrators out there of that. But if you want us to be there in the next few months and you have a science unit coming up, please get the information, and I can't overemphasize this enough, please get the information into us as soon as possible, because if you wait until into early mid-September, our time and dates are going to fill up very quickly, and we may not be able to get to your school until the spring semester. That's how fast these things go. So if you would like us to come and talk to your class, wonderful, great, make the presentation, give us an idea as to what's going on, but please give us again an idea as to when, where, student level, stuff like that, but do it soon, because again, this is going to fill up really quickly. So again, Food City Weather in the Classroom program at wdef.com/weather. I think that's going to wrap it up for us tonight. We've gone a pretty far amount for this evening. I'm not too sure how far we've gone. About 40 minutes or so. And thanks to everybody on Facebook. Didn't have anybody show up on Twitch tonight, but eventually we'll get there. But thanks to everybody for asking questions and participating tonight. To find out more, again, the forecast always available at wdef.com/weather. I'll be monitoring the weather from home, probably taking a nap tomorrow morning. Bishop Bob, you posted a nice meme about a week or so ago. Sleep in, it's Saturday morning, and I have every intention of doing that because this has been one heck of a busy week. So nice to have a little bit of time off there. Meteorologist Todd Heislip will be in on Saturday night and Sunday night, keeping you updated. And I'll be back with you next week early in the morning. Chip Chapman and I are kind of flip-flopping on schedules due to some schedule prearrangement on there. So I'll see you bright and early on Monday morning, coming up next week at 5 a.m. on the last day of July, if I'm not mistaken, on there. So tune in bright and early for that. And, of course, meteorologist Todd Heislip coming up on Saturday and Sunday nights. And, again, always the information available at wdef.com/weather. I'm Chief Meteorologist Austin Onek, live and direct from downtown Chattanooga, Tennessee, USA. For those of you tuning in on Twitch and Facebook tonight, thank you very much for joining us. And stay tuned to News 12 on air and online throughout the rest of the weekend. Hope you have a safe and happy weekend out there. Please, let's be careful out there. And we'll talk to you again coming up next week. Thanks for joining us.